Alrighty, this is my final project for employment law. I really enjoyed the class and learning all the laws when it comes to overall employers. I'll use them for my future reference and everything since I am in management. Hopefully, I will proceed to grow in the company I am or any company at all. Well, first, I want to start with the company I picked as an ineffective, one that hasn't used employment laws to its best. And I find it interesting. It's Walmart. Their gender discrimination. I mean, they've been dealing with it over 2 decades now. I've always found it interesting because my aunt was part of one of these lawsuits. The first one, in fact, the 2001 sex discrimination case where 6 women sued Walmart for gender discrimination. They were paying the men so much more, giving them bonuses and promotions. I mean, there was pen and paper, there was facts on this. It was an easy case, but Walmart kept battling it and battling it. And of course, they had the highest paid lawyers, while the 6 involved, they didn't have the best lawyers. So it went on for over a decade and a half, 15 years, and they finally came to a confidential agreement. But the agreement was it affected 1.5 million women across the board with Walmart. My aunt actually received a lump sum of the difference paid between men and women, and so I've always found this interesting. It's a good note I'd like to say. But first, the lawsuit in 2001, there are a few lawsuits behind this, but this is one of the main ones. It was the 6 women involved. They sued Walmart because of wage increases, bonuses, and promotions because their gender affected that. They were protected by the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Companies are not allowed to discriminate, pay promotions, and bonuses based on gender. And that's from 1964, and it's pretty mind-boggling that it's 2000. I mean, it's turn of the century, and we're still dealing with this. And then, along with the 2001 case that was confidentially closed, in 2012, 2,000 women from every state, excluding Montana and Vermont, which there's only 3 or 4 Walmarts in each of those states, those 2,000 women filed equal employment opportunity discrimination against Walmart. Along with how they handle these cases is some of the worst part. Instead of settling with the women and giving them their equal pay and so on, they kept battling it and trying to battle the court to say, hey, if these women want to sue us, they have to do it individually, which made it so much harder than just a big group with one lawyer. Each lady would have to get her own lawyer, so Walmart just made it difficult on the women involved. The equal employment opportunity, they've already sued and won against Walmart. They won $11.7 million for the women to be funded or for new learning aids and so on in an Eastern Kentucky warehouse facility where they were receiving applications for both women and men. They would throw the women to the side and just hire men, which is totally unfair. And there was, again, pen and paper material and evidence to where they lost the case. Walmart has always battled many cases, but with this one, it's almost, you could say, not ethical to battle these types of cases the way they did. It's okay to show proof and so on, but there was pen and paper evidence to where gender discrimination was there. It's always been a growing pattern, decades and decades of gender discrimination claims against Walmart. I mean, there's one every year, it seems like. This leads to their operational ineffectiveness. Instead of training 2001 when they were sued, I mean, they probably did boost up the training, but obviously it hasn't worked over the 20 years that since 2001, or 16 years to be exact. Instead of boosting these trainings and raising awareness for gender discrimination, they've allowed these problems to keep turning and turning. And there was actually a lawsuit as early as 2016. I have it on one of my links in my work site if you want to check that out. But instead of training your top management officials in the 8,000 stores across the board, they just allowed this gender discrimination to keep happening and happening. The ineffectiveness of establishing guidelines that allows the women to be treated fairly is just hurting their business. My next company is Google. I've always found them interesting to learn about because of the different ways they use tools to lead to success. And They're always interesting to learn about. They capture value in diversity. Instead of being biased with gender, age, religion, where you see many claims, Google values diversity. One of their models is at Google, being yourself is a job requirement. When we encourage Googlers to express themselves, we really mean it. In fact, we count on it. Intellectual curiosity and diverse perspectives drive our policies, our work environment, our perks, and our profits. I've always really loved learning about Google. It's very interesting. Being diverse helps Google. This allows many different cultures, minds, and everything to come together, and you get so many more results, different results you could say, and ideas. These all come together and make Google successful. Google will bring in people from across the world that want to come work for them, or that already do, and they spend more than $4.5 million a year to bring them people in. So that's value right there. They value diversity not only in the United States, but they bring people in. So their key to success, or what they value, what they capture is diversity. They have had several discrimination claims, but instead of dealing with them claims and then, like Walmart, dealing with them then leaving them off, instead of just hoping this type of discrimination will not happen again, Google would take it a step further. A gentleman named Brian Reed was had a discrimination case because he was called Old Fuddy Duddy and so on by his co-workers. He did win the case, but instead of just leaving it at that, Google took it a step further and made an internal group that allows people over 40, your older people, you could say, to have a group to help prevent discrimination cases. Makes them have a voice in the Google community. Thanks.